for Commission. Does anybody have anything to either amend the agenda, or can I get a motion to approve it? Thank you, Steve.
I'll second.
Second. Thanks, Kathy. Approval of the minutes from the September 10th meeting. May I get someone to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you, Ellie and Steve. All set. New business, proposed regulation. We've been talking about when businesses or housing, someone sells their house or whatever within the sewer district or the fire district, to get a lateral inspection, just to make sure, because sometimes some of them are so old and have not been inspected. So I wanted to see if we could include that in our, in the sewer requirements when someone goes to zoning. So Randy DeBella had typed up something, and it's included in everybody's worksheet there. And it says, prior to closing the sale, transfer, or change of ownership of any property within the so-called fire district, the owner, purchaser, or proposed grantee on the subject premises shall arrange and pay for an inspection of the lateral line or lines serving the premises. Inspection shall be conducted by a qualified private professional or the Kent Sewer Commission, and report of the inspection results shall be reported to the commission. So I'd like to see if we can make a motion to put that in our regulations. I always do. Yeah, regulations. And I'm not sure what we need to do to make that happen. Joyce, can we just vote on that? Or does that require going to a meeting for the town or anything? I'm not sure.
Generally, you'd have to have a public hearing, which is just another warned meeting that we advertise to give the public an opportunity to weigh in on it. And then you'd move it to go to add to your regulations.
Okay. Maybe we could, if we could plan on doing that for next month. And this way we can, better track who is where, and just make sure that the sewer lines are, in good shape and stuff like that. If one of them is collapsing, this way we know, and then they can have it repaired and stuff. And okay, so we will, if we can move on that for next month, that would be great.
So does Joyce just to go ahead and do that? Does she make it part of the
warn a meeting? Well, and we can do it for the next meeting.
Right. But you should make a motion that you agree to move it to a public hearing, so that way,
okay,
official that I'm warning it as such.
All right. So can I get someone to make a motion to do that?
Sure. So moved.
No, I need you to make the motion. You need to make the motion. And then we move it.
All the words?
Yeah.
Alyssa had a question when you have a minute.
Yeah.
Some of the other municipalities, and I get it through Aquarian, where there's an insurance policy for your sewer line. I'm just wondering if there's got to be a revenue stream there, I'm assuming, for some of these other larger municipalities. I don't know if it's anything we've ever looked into offering, but it supposedly it's covered through Aquarian if you pay this extra fee, which I do.
To do what?
Essentially an insurance policy offered through probably a third party, but it would be something we would offer for residents.
Well, the only time I've been aware of there being a problem with someone's sewer line, it's usually 9 out of 10 times it's like tree roots that have gotten into a lateral.
Yeah.
And that becomes the homeowner's responsibility.
Yep.
So it's not, I've not ever, I can't say I've never, I can't recall a time that a sewer line has backed up into someone's home that it became our responsibility, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's more, I think it's offered like must be through a third party where we offer it as a add-on to your bill, in case you ever did have a backup. I know some other municipalities do offer it. It's an optional service essentially.
Right.
It's most likely offered through a third-party insurer, but I'm assuming that they give, the sewer commission a commission, no pun intended,
Yeah.
for offering that service. Just something to look at as possible for another, revenue stream.
Would you mind taking that on?
Yeah,
look
I'm gonna do a little research on it and find out.
That'd
I've
be great.
never really delved into my aquarium, what it really covers. But I think it's like $55 a year, I think I pay, and supposedly it covers my sewer line as well. I've never actually read the fine print.
I've seen those bills come through and I just always figure it's some other scam kind of deal.
Yeah, I just pay,
Yeah.
I think it's $55 and I never had to utilize it, but yeah, I'll look into that. I'm just
Okay.
curious.
All right, so Aquarian. That would be great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So say a sewer repair costs $5,000 at $55 a month, a year, that would cost 90 years. So
How insurance
Yeah.
companies make money, I don't know, but
I don't know.
some they seem to, I guess it's spread out. I don't know if Kent is a big enough, again, maybe it's such a small, municipality that they, wouldn't be worth it, but I'll do a little research and find out. I have done a little bit of querying and I see New Britain, West Hartford, they offer it. So I'll do a little investigating.
I mean, if your sewer line like collapsed or, backed up, I mean, be curious to see what it would include.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because for the most part, we've been so lucky where it's not been an issue. It's usually, and I always hate that phone call when someone calls to say they've got a problem with a sewer line, because 9 out of 10 times it's tree roots, and they don't want to hear that we're not responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, that would be great.
Not to mention the larger municipalities probably have people on staff, like line crews, stuff like that can do the work, where instantly it'd be a farm out situation for us.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I think it is offered as a third party, through a third party. So I'll look into it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vin. I appreciate that.
Melissa,
So, Ricky,
when the current regulations, are they required to hook up to the sewer house if they aren't, when the house sells?
if they, well, what we've always, that should be part of the deal. But what we've done is if they have a working septic line, they can keep it. But as soon as that thing goes down, then anybody would be required to hook up to the Kent sewer.
All right, so
Is
this new regulation wouldn't apply to, if there are any left that aren't hooked up then?
No, this is just saying that when it sells that they have to do an inspection. But at that point, if the inspection proves that their lateral is collapsing or not, not functioning as it should, then they would be required to, hang on, I got to think about that. If they sell the house, we would require them to inspect their septic or sewer line, I guess. Right?
This is sort of, I'll assume just the ones that are hooked up to the laterals already, so.
No, I was trying to do it so that, I mean, the premise behind my reason for thinking of doing this is that we never, when Art Seabury was head of the commission, I mean, he had everybody's information in his head and it was never in print. So I thought going forward, this would be one way of helping, know where sewer lines are and laterals are and things like that. And just to confirm that they're in working order and stuff. But if someone were on, I mean, that's something that would definitely have to go into a public hearing if we required them, if they sold the house and they had their own septic and we were requiring them to go on the Kent sewer, that would definitely require a public hearing on that. And I don't know how someone would feel about that. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, obviously the more users, the better, for sure. But I mean, I don't think there are a huge number of people who are on their own septic lines in, that fire district area. I think I think majority of everybody is on the line, but I know there are a few of them that are not.
It was a
Are
really
we-
big problem at the gallery. We couldn't find our connection for
I know.
a really long time. So that would have been helpful.
And to know where it is, so now because you have gone on, now it's, now we know where we have that information at hand.
And we only found out because Jack Nelson was the one who had shut it down before. And I
Right.
asked him one day. So like, it would have been helpful.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I just think it's, going forward, I think it's something that's helpful to the commission. I mean, regardless, I mean, it's not going to affect all of us, but down the road, as things get older, it's helpful to know where that, have that information at hand. So when something happens, where to look, as opposed to, running to some guy's property and trying to figure out where the heck it hooks up.
Is it worth maybe asking or consulting like Chris Garrity or David Bain to see? I wouldn't want midnight phone calls that we're holding up a closing, how would we administer that?
When they go to zoning, I don't know on buying.
Yeah, because the sale of a house, usually it's just, your deed. I don't think they go through
Correct.
zoning. So I would just think, I know I've done many midnight phone call of, oh, I need a septic inspection, and you gotta dig someone out of the woodwork to get it,
Well, I'm not trying to open up a can of worms here. I'm just trying to, going forward, so that, because I know there are a lot that are unknown.
Yeah. And
I'm just trying to, down the road, just plan so that when someone buys a house, we know that their septic their septic system or sewer line is working. I guess
Yeah.
it should apply to both.
both.
It should definitely apply to both.
Yeah,
So
I know, the banks usually require septic inspection, but I think once you're on a city sewer, I think they have a pretty high confidence. I don't recall having ever
Well,
to do
actually, if you have a septic and you're selling the house, or whoever's selling, they have to come in and inspect that too.
inspect. Yeah, with a city sewer, I'm pretty sure there is. Again, I know the home inspector might suggest it, but I can't. I don't know if it's a requirement.
I don't know how, well, I don't know how that would work then. I guess I have to talk to Randy about this more.
Yeah.
To see if selling a house, how to, I guess enforce it, or, make sure that stuff gets covered.
Yeah.
And one more question about the fire district. Do you remember where the so-called boundaries are of that?
For me, I think the boundaries are like Kent Greenhouse to the community house, to Kent School on the, just over the river, to kind of the edge of Kent Green out to Maple Street Extension, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking whether, instead of saying the fire district, says any,
I don't know.
I guess property
I always
serviced
call
by
it
the,
fire district. I guess it should be called Business District 1 or
Well-
2, whatever the zoning is.
well, we just said any property serviced by the sewer system.
Okay,
Because if we get inside or outside that so-called fire district line, and they're still on the house cells, and we got no control over it. And then if somebody adds on to the system, then it would still be serviced by the system, so those houses would be,
I think there are a few over on Lane Street that are not on, and then that the house out on 25 Maple Street just went on the sewer, which is great. And then I think I know there's a couple of them out on Maple Street Extension that are not on.
Yep.
I mean, that's the other thing.
anybody going up first part of Cedar Mountain, whether it's still town water, if they had decided to add on and run a line down to the pump station. Not sure whether that was still the fire district or.
I think I need to, let me look into this better then.
Yeah. I think it used to be anything that was serviced by the hydrants. Is what they kind of called the fire district.
Yeah,
I just looked on their website to see if they had any kind of map or anything, but they don't have anything like that.
okay, well, let me pursue this a little bit more and get some more information from him. And then we can bring it back to the meeting next month and then put together a better proposal and then arrange to have a public hearing maybe in November then.
Okay.
That sound
Mhm.
reasonable? Okay. Let's see, old business, Motor Riot. I misunderstood from Bart. I thought we needed to require their plumbing drawings, and evidently because it's not new construction, that part was not needed. And they did send in a corrected drawing for where the sewer hookup is on the map that they sent in originally. Originally, the sewer line stopped on Route 7. It didn't show how it connected. The line leaving the right side of the building didn't connect to the sewer line, but they have since redrawn the drawing and submitted it. Did everybody have the chance to take a look at that?
Mhm. Yep.
And everybody's fine with that?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so they're all set. I don't really have much to report, but I will let Lyle take it away.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Last month we had 2.4 million gallons in total flow through the plant. It's a 78,000 gallon per day average. The total 1.25 million came from Kent School. We have efficiency rating on VOD and total suspended solids of both at 98%. We have one bed in use, one is drying, and two are ready for use. Grant continues his studies in preparation for his Class 2 licensing exam. We had an issue with the conveyor screw on the press. The JWB company is manufacturing a stainless steel conveyor screw for the sludge belt press. Turns out the line builds up underneath it and sets up like concrete. It flexes the shaft and such that it puts stress on the shaft where it attaches to the motor and it snaps. But anyways, since it wasn't, I believe, was an ongoing issue that I've talked to him a couple times about, and we tried different remedies. They're going to replace that screw with a stainless steel one at no cost to us. And October 17th, Grant and I will be attending classes on PFAS regulations, and supposedly the state has some new secondary treatment standards that they're going to be issuing. So we'll be going to school on that.
Great,
That's what I have.
excellent. Did you, from the last meeting, you were gonna check out the pump at the Victorian House?
I don't, no, I did not do that.
Okay,
I dropped the ball on that.
all right. Well,
I will.
if you can take a look at it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's see, Barbara.
Hello, everyone. I did send out reports yesterday later in the afternoon, so hopefully everybody got them. Same reports as I always send, although I did include the disbursement journal for July and August because we didn't approve them last month because the July one wasn't included. So you got 3 disbursement journals yesterday, but the other reports are basically the same as we typically show. There's the budget versus actual. And the revenue is right on target right now, based on what we budgeted. Most of the expenses are right on target. The only ones that are a little bit over are the insurance, the medical insurance, and that's kind of due to timing. Everything else seems to be okay. Materials and supplies is a little bit high right now, but I think that goes to the repairs that Lyle was just talking about. And it seems like it's up a big percentage, but when you look at what the dollar amount is, it's really not that much. I've decided that it's easier to actually make the transfers to the capital reserve on a quarterly basis instead of a monthly basis. So that's why there's not showing any transfers to the capital reserve yet.
Okay.
So I'll do that for the next quarter. So we're still operating at a positive net income of $10,000 so far this fiscal year. The second document I send is the balance sheet, and it gives you the cash balances today versus a year ago. We're pretty much at the same place we were a year ago. We're up about $2,500. But we've paid quite a bit down on the USDA loans, so that has affected our cash balance because that's the only place you see the interest you see on the expenditure P&L, but the principal pay down you don't see there. You only see it on the balance sheet. And then there's the disbursement journal for September. Oh, I made it so big that you can't, how's that? See it. There really wasn't anything of note in the September expenditures. Everything was pretty much regular operating expense. And that's all I have unless anyone has any questions. And then I just need all 3 disbursement journals to be approved.
Okay, and may I get a motion? Does anybody have any comment on them or?
I had a question.
Yeah.
You sent out that thing about the maintenance agreement for Brookwoods and
Yes,
Ellery. Just wanted to ask Barbara, those numbers don't seem to change. Are those capped at that amount or?
No, actually, they're certificates of deposits, and some of them we only get the interest to post it yearly. And sometimes we get the interest, depends on which bank they're in. Webster Bank just transitioned over so that they're posting interest monthly, so that changes every month, but that one is, hold on a minute.
Do we get any money from those subdivisions still, or that's
Saddle Ridge.
that's a set
Well,
number?
no, they don't actually give us any more money. The only changes that we recognize now are interest postings, and Saddle Ridge money is at Webster Bank, and they just changed their reporting. So now they report every month. So that one is showing a change of $528 in interest. But the Brookwoods and Kent Affordable Housing, those 2 CDs are over at Union Savings Bank. But those haven't, once they met the amount that was in the agreement, the original agreement, it just sits in the bank and earns minimal interest.
we had a conversation last month, 2 months ago. It's been so crazy with everybody's schedule here, but of talking about possibly putting it, I didn't know if we needed to put a maintenance agreement over at the Victorian House in Kent with the Firefly and that whole complex back there. And that was something we were talking about, whether we also thought that the amount of money in those funds was enough should they have some massive crisis, or, you know, how we should handle that. And I didn't know what anybody thought, whether or not we thought we should have a maintenance agreement with, you know, John McPhee or not, or just let it go. Lyle, you know that system pretty well. What do you think about it?
If we're requiring it for one, we would have to require it for everybody like that, no?
How many other like mini sewer systems do we have like that?
There's one at the condos, right?
We have 3.
Pump chamber at the Green. Go ahead, Barb.
We have 3 on the books that we're holding in reserve: Brookwoods, Kent
Brookwoods.
Affordable Housing, and Saddle Ridge.
Oh, Saddle Ridge.
So that's all we have on the books as far as holding monies in escrow.
So, I guess because the other ones are out of town, I guess that allows it to, you know, take care of itself, I guess. I guess we could let it go. And then because everybody in town, the Victorian House and Firefly, the condos in Kent Green are all right here in town on the Kent sewer system itself. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Just asking.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. And I know John just put in a generator so that if that station goes down, he's got a generator to take care of it. And I believe at the Victorian Square, they have, at the Victorian House, I believe he put in a generator as well for that area, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
And I'm sure the condos, well, I don't know about them with a generator because I don't know. I
They
don't
don't have
know.
a pump system, so they wouldn't need it.
Okay.
It's all gravity.
So I guess we can, I guess that those guys do not need it, but does everybody feel that that money is enough money in that fund? Or, I don't know if, I mean, it seems like it is, but if something should happen, it's not going to make a dent in the bill unless, like what Vinny was proposing is to have an insurance policy on it. And maybe do it that way, just in case something major happened, to have it be covered that way. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Mm.
Did Bart speak on this at the last meeting? I thought he weighed in. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back and watch the meeting.
Well, I would too, because it's been a while
Yeah.
since we've seen him.
Hmm.
But, all right, well, I think he seemed to feel it was fine the way they're operating right now. And I wasn't thinking about, everybody in town on the Kent sewer system with those, those systems there. So maybe, I guess we're fine.
Mhm.
Unless anybody has something to add in.
Is it worth looking at our regulations for future to require anyone who needs a pump system to have a generator?
Oh, the condos is gravity, right?
Yeah,
Rich?
it's gravity, but the fear with the Firefly would be, he's got an in full of guests and that, the power's out, they do have a generator, but we need some obviously mechanism to monitor that. So would it be in our best interest, maybe in regulations going forward, to require anyone with a pump chamber that is not gravity to provide an alternate means of powering that pump, essentially?
Let me find out from John if they have somehow I think they have a generator there.
Yeah, I think there is. I think it's by the Ace Hardware. I think that runs that pump chamber, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that
I think.
generator by the Ace Hardware belongs to John. That
Yeah.
takes care of the pump station on Kent Green.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyone who requires, anything outside of our, system in their own property, but if they have to pump up to us as a matter of public health, they need to be able to demonstrate they can do that.
Yeah.
If they're a commercial entity, I think a homeowner would be a different story. That would be terrible for them. But I think any business entity that, I think Torrington Area Health or anyone would want to ensure that their septic, their septage is being taken care of, including during a power outage.
Yeah. Well, let me speak to John to see if I believe he has a generator, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they put so much into that property. I'd be shocked if he didn't have a generator there.
Or at least a requirement that they submit a plan of action of what will they do if
Yeah.
such and
Okay.
such. Might be worth, that's what we have a lot at High Watch for certain, situations, we have a plan of action saying if this happens, then this happens. Maybe they have to rent a generator.
I believe he does. I should maybe have him get us a copy of it, because I remember when we were talking about, we were giving them I forget what we were giving them a permit for or something. Oh, it was when they were hooking up the Firefly. We went through that whole craziness with, them putting a whole new sewer line in. And I believe they had a plan of action if
Yeah.
something happened. So
If something happened.
yeah, let me find out from him. I'll ask him. So, Lyle, you were gonna say something?
I was just thinking, as far as parity goes, we make people with a pump chamber put a generator that's dedicated to that. That pump station that we have on Maple Street Extension doesn't have a generator. So I don't know how we could say, you know, if you have your own, you need to have a generator when you don't follow suit.
Is the one out by the pump station Gravity, or that,
No, that's got to pump up over the hill.
no? Then,
So if we're forcing customers to do that, we're not practicing what we preach.
well, maybe if there's some of that ARPA money left, we could, there is, I mean, I know we're supposed to go to design fees for the, you know, when we do the, my brain is just befuddled right now. I apologize.
Yeah, for the plant, the tanks out here.
Yeah, the tank. But maybe we could take some out of that and put it towards looking into buying a generator to make sure that that is covered.
Okay, I'll talk to John Gleason about
Okay. See what it would cost. I mean, it doesn't have to be the most deluxe model. It just has to
it.
last
Right,
for a day or a couple days for sure.
yes,
Okay,
okay.
all right,
Just wanted to put that out there.
okay. So back to getting a motion to approve the journals. The journal sheets that Barbara had. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. I apologize. I'm like about to pass out. But anyway, the check register. May I get a motion to pass the ones for, I think, July, August, and September?
Yes, so
Thank you. Second?
second.
Thank you, guys. No Debbie, no Bart.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
Debbie.
here.
Oh my God.
I
was
can't
wondering
figure
who
out how to
Debbie
do the
was.
picture. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that I am still here and bills will be going out for the November quarter. And I did send notice of intent to lien to some back tax people, and a couple of people have paid already. So that seems to be moving ahead.
Good.
Debbie, I have a photo of that flow meter. I'll bring it to you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Is just for curiosity's sake, is Carly on the current side?
No,
Okay. How far behind is she?
she is the first quarter of this year and the last quarter of last. So she's behind for 2 quarters. I did talk to John about it too, so he's aware.
Okay. Have you sent her a notice on it?
Oh, everyone got a notice of intent? Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. And she always keeps us
Doesn't
going.
Doesn't fail.
Yeah, really. Okay, no Bart. Does anybody have any comment? Are you laughing, Ricky? Does anybody else have anything else to add in?
No.
All right. Well, oh my God, this is a long meeting. Meeting adjourned at 5:04. Thank you all.
Thank you.
See you next month.
Bye.